is Fox 5 News Morning.
The election is certainly well underway now across the country. What can we expect from the polls? Are they still polling today? Have they closed the pre-election polls? What about the very important swing states? We'll take a closer look with a pollster at 7:30.
As we head to break now, though, a live look at polling places in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. The polls now open. And as you can see, plenty of folks already casting their votes. 7:27, back after this.
There are 226 million adults eligible to vote this year. That's up nearly 11 million from the last presidential election. The fastest growth in eligible voters has been among Hispanic Americans. That could be a big boost for Hillary Clinton. But turnout is crucial, and only 48% of Hispanic voters actually voted in 2012. In the final hours of this race, it doesn't look like a landslide for either party. Donald Trump needs to deliver knockout blows in a lot of the battleground states. Hillary Clinton needs fewer of them, but can't afford to let too many high electoral votes states slip through her fingers. Trump's polling deficit has significantly narrowed in recent weeks, with his numbers now pulling nearly alongside Clinton's. When the last polling place closes tonight, the election may well be decided by the undecideds, the voters who, even in the 11th hour, had not committed to either major party candidate. So joining us now with more is Cliff Young. Cliff is the president of public affairs at Ipsos US, a global market research and consulting firm with a focus on opinion polls. Been polling throughout the presidential race. Now, before we bring in our visual aides, Cliff, are we done with the polling, or will the polling continue today?
No, we're polling all through the day. We're doing something called same-day poll. It's like an exit poll. And so we'll have data around 6 or 7 or so and coming up with profiles and the reasons why people voted nationally and by state. All
right. As far as the polls that led up until the polls opened this morning, let's take a look at what we have. We'll start with the battleground states. What did we find?
Well, overall, the polling, we're at about 4 to 5 point lead for Hillary Clinton over Trump. Key, I think, for everyone is, what are those battleground states to be looking at tonight? I would say there's three very important ones. Florida, North Carolina, and especially Ohio, those big three, like the big troika, we really need to be looking at. Trump needs those three to even be competitive tonight.
As far as these electoral votes, does Donald Trump need to win all of these?
He needs to win all of those. Okay. And so, we might know early, we might not, but we might know very early. I would look specifically at North Carolina because it's split down the middle, trending a bit Democratic.
All right, that's the key right now. We'll put the focus on North Carolina. Let's talk about perhaps some of the bombshell events that have happened recently, and we have seen a number of them in this campaign. How much did that influence voters?
It's like high drama, telenovela, right, in some ways. You know, they have an effect, so you have basically, you had the FBI probe on the one hand, you had the hot mic issue on the other hand. They have an effect in the short term.
Are these peaks and valleys representative of certain events?
So the polls were all kind of all over the place because of these different events, both negative and positive. But over time, people kind of forget, kind of bake it in, and really just kind of reinforces whether you like one candidate and dislike the other.
All right, let's talk about undecideds. Where are they leaning?
Well, they're sort of split down the middle, leaning a bit towards, a bit towards Clinton right now, but really kind of split down the middle.
All right. What do you think about the Gary Johnsons, the Jill Steins, the write-ins? Any impact at all on this election?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pollsters, we don't like third parties. They mess up our polls and our projections on Election Day. Typically, people say they want to vote for a third party, but when they get to the polls, they basically opt for one of the two major parties. I think they'll probably outperform or overperform in the past, but a lot of those people that said they were going to vote for a third party probably will break for Clinton or for Trump.
If they take votes away, though, who are they taking votes away from?
It's basically even, but they take a little bit more away from Trump right now.
All right, and the last thing we want to talk about is turnout. What are we looking at as far as turnout at the polls and how that might impact one candidate versus
the that's a great question. So basically, turnout is key. Like most of the polls, when we get them wrong, it's because we goofed with turnout. We estimated a turnout that was too high or too low. What are we seeing? If it's an average turnout, about 60% of here's the graph right here. This is a graph looking at the vote share for Clinton versus Trump. If you look down here, 50% turnout, which would be a historic low. Trump actually wins. But if we're at the average, around 60% or so, the blue line is a Hillary Clinton line. If we're at the average, or even a little bit below the average turnout, it's a Hillary Clinton day.
Just to be clear, this line is Hillary Clinton, this line is Donald Trump.
Yeah, red is Donald Trump, so blue is Clinton.
The more turnout we get, the better that...
It goes the other way. So it's the more turnout this way, the better Hillary is. And so the higher turnout in the election, The higher it is, the better for Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. The lower it is, better for Trump and the Republicans.
I know you don't have a concrete answer for this, but you've done over 100 elections that you have done polling for. Tonight, do you think early in the evening, late in the evening, not tonight, we'll have an answer as to who will be president?
Well, anything can happen. And indeed, like you take Brexit in the UK, we got burned a bit as pollsters, right? But I think it's going to be an early evening. I think we should know when the first polls close. Again, look at North Carolina. That would be key, but also look at Ohio and Florida. Trump needs all three even to be competitive. That said, anything can happen. We never know, right?
Well, we're all going to be watching. We know that, and we'll talk with you again soon. Cliff Young with Ipsos US. Thanks for joining us this morning.